The presentation of the Harley Davidson Sportster into the American market in 1957 was even more a methodology to counter the undeniably fruitful English cruisers being sold in the US. The Sportster was one of the primary Harley Davidson models to incorporate a back suspension and a superior, overhead valve motor. The plan was obviously suggestive of the ruling English cruisers of the 1950s, especially the Victory Thunderbird. This methodology ended up being gold. The setup was gotten by the US bike market tenderly. Here are our picks for the best 10 Harley Davidson Sportster models ever, in no specific request. 1. 1957 Harley XL Sportster Ironhead. The Sportster legend started with the 1957 Harley XL Ironhead, highlighting another overhead valve engine that worked with a 3.81-inch stroke and a 3-inch bore to create 883 cc relocation. One wrench pin was utilized for both associating bars, and was known as a blade and fork plan. Singular valves were constrained by a different cam to improve on the valve train calculation, while both the front and back chambers were taken care of by a solitary carburetor. Incorporated inside the rear of the motor cases was a unit 4-speed transmission, while the engine, which was nearly covered up completely behind the fuel tank, included twin chamber containers isolated by around 45 degrees. 2. 1967 Harley Sportster XLH. Before the 1967 XLH, every one of the past models were launch as it were. The new model accompanied overhauled motor cases to fuse electric beginning. Somewhere in the range of 1967 and 1969, 2 cases were made for the Sportster, one for the electric beginning bicycles and the other for the launch models. In 1970, all the XL models were fitted with a similar motor cases. The XLH kicked back the edge simply over the arm turn to help electric beginning, just as the new battery box. With the long edge, the seat post cylinders were set 1/2 creeps towards the back. 3. 1969 Harley Sportster XLH. The Northwest Utah-based Bonneville salt pads have consistently been known for rapid contest. It is here, in 1970, that a Sportster worked Streamliner motorbike crushed the world speed record. The Streamliner highlighted a 15-long aluminum body, with only 23 inches cross area. There was a little cockpit inside with a redid XLR engine, stroked and exhausted to 1,480 cc. The motor was filled by 70% nitromethane, and the pilot was famous Harley Davidson rider Cal Rayburn, whose 265 mph record speed went on for a very long time. 4. 1971 Harley Sportster. 1971 was an uncommon year for Sportsters, denoting a progress from the 900cc to new motor cases. The setup moved the Merchant to the inside of the stuff case, presently utilizing a programmed advance instrument to assist with the beginning. The tail segment and fiberglass seat, nicknamed the boat tail, was presented for the second and last year. The Sportsters were changed into a wet grasp arrangement which, as the name suggests, sits in oil while a dry one doesn't. They are likewise calmer than dry grips, however are a more troublesome draw at the switch. 5. 1978 Harley Sportster. The 1978 Sportster acquired cast aluminum Haggles plate front brakes from the Bistro Racer. Notwithstanding the CMS'd exhaust pipes that improved both the mid-range pull and force. Longer stroke back shocks were huge in expanding traveler and rider solace. At this point, all XL motorbikes had a steady voltage controller and electric start, which required less support and gave simpler beginning. To celebrate 75 years of creation, Harley Davidson offered an extraordinary release Sportster. Including restricted version commemoration designs, gold cast aluminum wheels, and dull dark paint featured by gold trim. The organization leaflet named the 1978 Sportster the quickest, generally incredible, and most dexterous motorbike of now is the right time. 17,000 units were sold that year, denoting the most elevated Ironhead Sportster deals ever. 6. 1980–1981 Harley Sportster. In 1980, Harley Davidson released the 1980 Sportster with double circles and located edge and plates, and ceased the 1979 Kickstarter models. All the XL models currently came as electric beginning, just accounting for the back ace chamber to be migrated beneath and far removed of the back exhaust pipe. The electronic start was killed for a Magnavox unit that transferred signs to a computing control module through an inductive pickup. This module is prevalently known as the black box. The Sportster utilized another drive and electric starter, and presented a twofold gas pedal link. The link-driven unit was supplanted by an electronic tachometer. While the 80s accompanied high-firing up, multi-chamber motor bicycles, the Sportster kept up with its 5,500 revolutions per minute. With a speed increase of more than 2,000 revolutions per minute, the cruisers didn't need down moving. The 1000cc V-twin gave all the force that was required. Notwithstanding a few minor changes, the mid-80s Sportsters were incorporated with a lighter and more grounded outline. 7. 1983 Harley Sportster XLH 61. Obviously one of the best showcasing moves in Harley Davidson's set of experiences, the XLH 61 was presented in 1983 without any ornaments. The uncovered boned machine highlighted just a solitary check, nut fuel tank, and a performance seat. It came in dark form just and was intended to sell at $3,995. During its introduction year, 4,892 units were sold. Join the wide range of various 3XL models, they actually wouldn't approach this numbers. The XLX is as yet outstanding amongst other selling Sportster models throughout the entire existence of the setup. 8. 2005 Harley Davidson Sportster. In 2004, the Sportster got perhaps the greatest makeover since it was set up. Every one of the noteworthy new enhancements highlighted by the 2004 models were extended to 2005. And it was evident that Harley Davidson was putting forth a cognizant attempt to profit its line of cruisers to all monetary levels in the general public. Likely the most amazing turnaround to the new form of Sportsters was the decrease in vibration. The individuals who have had the joy of riding the old models are most likely mindful that the shimmy on Harley Davidson's minimal bore awful kid was the stuff of legends. Yet, the clatter, shake, and roll of antiquated had gone with the new model because of an air-cooled, elastic-mounted 45-degree V-twin motor that could hack 883 cc. The inside determinations didn't change, sailing at 8.9. 1 pressure proportion and a drag and stroke of 96.8 by 76.6 mm. The little force plant was upgraded by new chambers and heads with greater blades, along these lines further developing cooling. The cylinders, then again, accompanied oil jets dousing their undersides for a more dependable encounter. 9. 2010 Harley CRD XR 1200. The 2010 Harley-Davidson XR 1200 is quite possibly the most one-of-a-kind bikes created by Harley-Davidson to date. Dispatched uniquely in Europe, the bicycle had a particular level track body style while as yet keeping up with the notorious American plan. The feature is the wide, significantly molded aluminum tank that was brought into the world from a joint effort between Carlos Delgado and Pablo of the Valtoron foundry. It had a cool logo suggestive of the 70s and its pudgy tail unit was bin. Taken over by a Manx-like one-piece cowhide seat and a minimized sub-outline. 10. 2014 Harley XL 883N Iron 883. The 2014 Iron 883 was given a 12 pm dark look on the outside covers, hand and foot controls, belt monitor. Cast aluminum wheels, dark powder-covered motor, and Michelin tires among others. It accompanied a 883cc development motor with double amazed exhaust and 5-speed transmission. As though this was sufficiently not, the bike was fitted with a 3.3-gallon gas tank, plate brakes, and the natural Sportster solo seat.